Hey folks, welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Justin Riley, and I hope you stick around with us today. We've got a great show coming up. We're going to check in with a small family-owned pharmacy and find out how they have stayed competitive in an increasingly competitive market. Plus, we'll learn about some fertility treatment options and some weight loss solutions. But first, I'm joined now by Vanessa Teff from Optimum Vitality. Vanessa, welcome.
Thank you.
So good to have you with us here today because I always like talking about holistic approaches to healing and so forth. You offer customized clinical nutrition, cold laser, and yoga classes at your clinic. It's quite a combination. Talk to viewers a little bit about what is cold laser.
Sure. I think cold laser is one of the most interesting parts of the clinic because you can see some of the most dramatic results or effects. What it is, in essence, is a light. Okay, it's light therapy, right, is also referred to, and that light is a certain wavelength that stimulates healing. Okay, it's been scientifically proven to have a therapeutic effect or healing effect on the body, and that's, in essence, that's what it is.
That's very cool. Wow. I had no idea that light, I mean, that they could concentrate that wavelength of light to actually heal certain areas of the body.
Exactly.
That's very cool. So how does it work? Talk to us a little bit about how it works.
So it comes from, the background a little bit, is it's coming from the electromagnetic spectrum. I promise this is as scientific as I'll get, okay?
Okay, yeah, make sure it's real small words for me, so.
What that is that's the light coming from the sun. Okay, and there's part of that is visible light, all of the colors in the rainbow, what we see.
Sure.
Part of that's infrared, and part of it's far infrared.
Right.
So within the visible spectrum, let's backtrack to that, there are certain wavelengths that when put on the skin or within an area of the cell will stimulate the energy center, the mitochondria, to produce cellular energy. Okay, so it's helping the cell to heal or recover. What that does is decrease pain, complete the inflammation cycle, and also, and almost more importantly, is it increases the microcirculation to that area, which is you're getting more oxygen, you're getting more nutrition, you're getting more blood flow. So all of that together is creating that cell to heal.
Yeah. And that blood flow, the oxygen, the nutrients, that's all a big part of healing. So
exactly, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what sorts of injuries can this type of treatment treat?
Sure. It can work on a variety of, I would say, conditions or injuries. You can use it on the skin, for instance, if there's a burn, stitches, scrapes, scabs, anything like that. It can go as deep as bone. So if there's a bone break or fracture. Tissue strain, tissue repair, a ligament or tendon strain. Okay, so anything that's really acute in those instances, you could use it. You could also use it on issues that are more chronic, arthritis, plantar fasciitis, frozen shoulder, for instance.
Wow.
And then on even another realm is they use it for athletic competition or sports to increase the strength and endurance of an athlete before, or during competition, you'd use it before, but it also decreases the lactic acid buildup.
Wow.
So a lot of different ways you could use it,
lots
certainly.
of different ways. Why, I'm surprised that this is actually my first time hearing about it and talking with you. I'm surprised that more people, I haven't heard of it prior to this time. I mean, it sounds like it's almost a miracle.
It's becoming more and more widely used. I think it started kind of in the alternative field a little bit, and that's where it got its legwork. But now you see it in a lot of physical therapists' office, a lot of medical doctors, all over the place.
And how quickly can someone expect to see results?
Typically, everyone's different, obviously. It depends on the condition. But in our clinic, I would say most often an average between 1 and 4 visits. Each visit is about 20 minutes of cold laser.
Yeah.
Some people walk out of there saying, wow, I have less pain, I can feel more range of motion already. Some people, it takes a couple visits until they feel that.
Sure.
Something that's more chronic, arthritis, you're going to be coming in more often, just on a more maintenance schedule, just to increase that healing to that area. So for instance, pain like that isn't just going to go away.
Right.
It'll take some time, but within the first 4 visits.
Sure. So now if someone has arthritis, is this something that could potentially alleviate all the symptoms of arthritis, or is this something that is just like you'd have to keep going back to sort of, I mean, is arthritis something that you'll always have?
Partially, yes.
Yeah.
So in short answer, yes, it's kind of always going to be there.
Right.
But even if it's bone on bone, what they do in that instance is eventually they're going to do surgery, okay? However, they will postpone surgery if there's no pain and if there's not a lot of inflammation.
Right.
So if you're getting cold laser, say on a monthly basis, you're pain-free and can still walk your 7 miles a day and feel good.
Yeah.
then there's no need
Right.
to move to that next step. So it's not getting rid of that arthritis, but it's helping the person live with what they have.
All right, folks, come and check out Vanessa Teff at Optimum Vitality, and she will talk to you so much more. Sounds like you've got even more to say about cold laser. It's a great treatment. Vanessa, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Don't go away. There's more Talk of the Town coming up right after this. And welcome back to Talk of the Town. My next guest is Becky Ingebrigtsen from A&B Fitness Concepts. Welcome, Becky.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, good to have you with us. So talk to us a little bit about what is A&B Fitness Concepts and what it is that you do. How would you best describe it to potential clients?
So A&B Fitness Concepts is a fitness studio. So we have group exercise classes, we have personal training, weight loss support groups, but we're really so much more than just the classes themselves. We're a smaller studio, so people are there just to work out. Like they're there for a class, they're there for personal training, kind of fast, in and out, efficient, but we take a lot of time to also offer educational seminars. We do a couple of events throughout the year and just really try to educate our clients too, and then make it more about a whole wellness package.
Yeah, the whole wellness package I think is huge. People need to, it's not just exercising, it's not just eating right, it's all of those things, everything put together in how you live your life and really achieving those fitness goals.
Right, absolutely.
So speaking of fitness goals, I mean obviously people are always setting fitness goals for themselves, and oftentimes they don't reach them. What would you tell people, and what's a common mistake that people make when they're setting and not achieving these fitness goals?
Well, we all make a lot of mistakes when it comes to, especially when it comes to our weight loss goals. We lose, we gain, we lose, we gain, and it gets very discouraging. So, but one of the biggest common mistakes, I guess, that I see is that people make short-term goals for themselves. Whatever they choose to do and however they choose to lose weight, if they can do it in a way that is going to be long-term. If they can do it in a way that they're going to be able to do it for the rest of their life, would be a lot more realistic than just doing something short-term that's not attainable, seeing short-term results, and then they kind of get a short-term reward out of it too, and then you kind of end up back to where you're at.
Right. I always find it interesting because people use the term fad diet a lot of times because they're diets that don't typically work, at least not for the long term.
Sure.
But most diets actually will say this is meant to be a long-term way of a lifestyle change.
Sure.
And a lot of people don't realize that, I really do need to kind of maintain this level of eating and activity and so forth if I want to stay at this weight.
Right.
So what advice would you give to people who are specifically interested in losing weight?
Just similar to what we were saying, choose something that is more long-term, that is for you, and then also works for your family lifestyle too. Because it's more than just about yourself. Your family is involved. Your kids see what you're doing in the way that you're doing it too, and they will mimic you as well. Choose things that are, especially when it comes to like your nutrition. Choose foods that your kids also like. Choose things that you and your family can do and make together.
Sure.
Make it more of a family. It is about ourselves and it's about feeling good ourselves, but bring your family into it as well, and then it's going to make it such more long-term. Be realistic about it. And
you use the word realistic, and I like that. What is a realistic expectation in terms of time frame, when people can expect to see results when they make these changes?
Sure. It depends from person to person, but we really end up feeling the change before we actually see it. We will sleep better. We'll have, less stress. Maybe when you go to the doctors, our numbers, look a little bit better too. So we don't give ourselves enough credit for that, how we feel things before we would step on the scale or before we would feel it in the way that our clothes are fitting. So give it at least 3 months. We like to say that, it takes 21 days or whatever to make a habit, but why put that pressure on yourself? Because if day 21 comes and maybe the habit would have continued starting day 25, you just kind of set yourself up for failure if you put a limit on it. I'd say give it at least 3 months. to be able to feel the difference and then give yourself credit for being able to feel the difference as well.
We just have a few seconds left, but I'm wondering if you could describe to us who is your average client? Who's the average person that comes into A&B Fitness Concepts?
Our average client is just your normal, average, hard-working parent, daughter, son, that's just trying to have everything and have balance in their lives. We're busy, and we're just trying to have the total package of happiness and being physically happy, mentally happy, emotionally happy, and just that total package.
Yeah. Becky Ingebrigtsen from A&B Fitness Concepts, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Don't go away. There's more Talk of the Town coming up right after this. Stick around. And welcome back to Talk of the Town. My next guest is Christy Olson from Forward Fertility. Welcome, Christy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have you here. So you're going to talk to us a little bit about increasing awareness for fertility treatment and what options are available here in Dane County. First of all, talk to us a little bit about how common is it for a person to need assistance in conceiving?
Well, it's really becoming more common. Years ago with the traditional family, fertility treatments weren't really spoken of or even available. But as couples are delaying how long they wait till have children, or as people decide to parent without a partner, and often with the marriage equality, same-sex couples certainly need some assistance with fertility treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more of a demand for it there. So what are some of the resources that are available here in Dane County for people who are trying to conceive?
Well, I think many of your viewers may not know that things such as acupuncture can help couples conceive. There are certainly IVF clinics. I think a really heart-to-heart conversation with your primary care provider can be helpful. And the one other thing I would say that many people going through fertility feel is isolation. So I think one of the biggest resources for people is really just tapping into their own network of friends and family for some support as they go through the process.
Yeah, getting that emotional support, I would imagine, is pretty important.
Well, they've found that people going through fertility can have the same amount of stress as someone who has a new cancer diagnosis or has lost a child. So it's pretty significant.
Well, and many of them probably have lost,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Losses is one of the reasons people have fertility struggles.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So share with viewers the range of different interventions or treatments that might be suggested for someone who's trying to conceive.
You bet. Some things are as simple as losing 10 or 15 pounds can help a woman start to ovulate more regularly, which is one of the issues. There can also be things, certainly smoking, things like that we know are really harmful to the woman's body for conceiving. Some of the more advanced options can be going to an IVF clinic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a variety of different options.
Definitely.
Now you are a women's health nurse practitioner, and you're also the founder of Forward Fertility. How does Forward Fertility fit into this process? Like, what do you offer?
Yeah, exactly. Forward Fertility is the only agency in the state of Wisconsin that offers both egg donation and surrogacy.
Okay.
So women who are interested in participating in either of those processes would contact me, and then I help them sort of get educated about the process and understand if they qualify. If they do, then they would be matched up with a family or a couple who may need those services.
And do you do anything on site, or are you just kind of a consultant?
Yeah, it's a good question. As a women's health nurse practitioner, when I worked at an IVF clinic, I did a lot of that clinical stuff. Now my role is really more of as a guide or a consultant through the process. It's very complicated, so having a go-to person can be really beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned earlier same-sex couples. If they choose to have children, they'll need some assistance in forming their family. Talk a little bit more about more of the resources that are available here in Dane County for those folks.
Yeah, you bet. Well, one thing that is really important is when you're conceiving with an egg donor, a sperm donor, or a donated embryo, one thing you really want to check in with at the beginning is an attorney to protect your rights as a parent and your rights as a parent for that child.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I can imagine that there is probably a pretty big legal component when you're bringing other people, other parties into the mix.
Definitely, and all parties need legal representation.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, this is, you talked about surrogacy a little bit. I mean, that for for a woman to be able to do that, that has to be something that they feel like is an amazing gift. Like, hey, I'm helping this family bring a child into the world.
Yeah.
Are there qualifications for women to become a surrogate mother?
Definitely. Some women who want to be surrogates don't qualify based on their medical or emotional or mental health histories. And certainly other women who qualify aren't interested in carrying a child for someone. But the basic requirements are that a woman needs to be between 21 and 40. She needs to have had at least one healthy full-term delivery. And she really needs to be motivated to want to help this other family achieve parenthood.
Yeah, that's a big commitment of someone's life to give up 9 months to do that.
It is. The surrogates I've worked with have described it as euphoric after they're done. So.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Christy Olson from Forward Fertility, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Don't go away. When we come back, there's more Talk of the Town. We'll be talking with OConnell Pharmacy. Stay with us. And welcome back to Talk of the Town. Independently owned pharmacies are something that is becoming more and more rare. And here to talk a little bit more about his very own independent pharmacy is Executive Director of OConnell Pharmacy, Sean O'Connell. Welcome.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Yeah, good to have you with us.
Thank you.
And you're located in Sun Prairie.
Yes, we are.
Cool. And how did O'Connell Pharmacy get started? What made you decide to start a pharmacy?
Sure. Well, actually, I didn't. My parents did.
Okay.
My dad is the one that went to pharmacy school here in Madison at UW.
Sure.
And he went to a local independent that eventually he wanted to sell, and my parents always wanted to run their own business.
Sure.
So he worked there for 9 years, and then they took over in 1987, and now we are in our 29th year of business.
Wow, okay. So
Yeah.
you've been around for a while.
Yes.
But the building that you're in is pretty new. I'm
Yes,
thinking.
yes. We've had a couple of different changes. We were on Main Street in
Sure.
more of the central part of the city, and now we're on the west side location, the Prairie Lakes area.
Right. Yeah, that new kind of development over there. So what are some of the challenges that are facing an independent pharmacy?
Well, I would say the biggest one, and it's not just with pharmacies, but hospitals anywhere in the health fields, is the shrinking reimbursements. So the way businesses or pharmacies had to deal 25 years ago, even 5 years ago, is different than what we have to do today.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit about that, and also mention how O'Connell has overcome some of these challenges.
Sure. I think the practice that most people are accustomed to with independent pharmacies, you come in, fill your meds, and that's it. Well, we offer a wider array of services. We'll do free home delivery.
Okay.
We have what we call med boxes, which is kind of the typical, it's the time and day slots.
Oh, sure.
Weekly med boxes, what we call them. We have auto synchronization, which is basically we correlate everyone's prescriptions to be at the same date so that they have to come in less times. It's easier to remember. We can call in for refills just to make it easier for them. So we have to do more things that focus on customer service.
Sure. Okay. So just being more customer service oriented is kind of the answer to how you stay competitive and how you overcome some of the challenges.
Yes, because we can't go toe to toe with the Walgreens and the big pharmacies like that. So you have to do the finer things to reach people.
So obviously you've grown quite a bit over the past 29 years. Are there any specific areas in which O'Connell Pharmacy has expanded their services?
Sure. In particular, we've grown with our long-term care side of the business, which when we say long-term care, we have a separate location which we service assisted living homes and nursing homes. And the difference is that it's not open to the public. It's not something that you would come in there, but we deal with the nurses and directors at these locations, and we have what they call compliance packaging. It could be a blister card or what they call a bingo card where you punch out. We do strip packaging. There's other types of packaging, whatever the facilities want, but it's done on a monthly basis primarily. So it's instead of servicing an individual customer, you might be servicing 20, 25, 50 residents at a facility.
Sure.
So that area with the baby boomers now getting to the retirement age and they're and such, they've started to populate more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you see the future of the pharmacy headed?
Well, I think it's already started, but I think it's in preventative medicine.
Okay.
And I think there's a couple ways. One is medication therapy management, or MTM, which is basically a broad array of services. Some of the common ones that people are aware of are like immunizations, flu shots.
Sure.
We do blood pressure checks, But then there's other things as well, like going over a comprehensive med review, where a pharmacist will sit down and talk to a customer about their current meds, and maybe they can find a generic that's cheaper. Maybe there's an interaction that they can reduce the number of meds that they're taking. So it's been found to show that it can help reduce costs and have a healthier lifestyle as well.
So you mentioned that, you said there's no way we can stand toe-to-toe to Walgreens or CVS or whatever, some of those bigger guys. What makes you want to keep going in such a competitive market?
Well, I would say it may sound cliche, but it's the customers and the employees that I love the most about this job. Each day is different. As a manager of a small business, a family business, you wear different hats. I mean, you deal with customers, you deal with vendors, inventory, whatever it may be on that day.
Yeah.
So I think each day is something new, but you get a definite rapport with the employees. Like I said, it's still a family business, and we're trying to keep it as such.
Sure.
And with the customers, we've got customers that have been with us from day one.
Sure.
And their younger family members have come to us as well. So I think that's what is the motivating factor for me.
Keeping people coming back.
Absolutely.
So, Sean O'Connell from OConnell Pharmacy in Sun Prairie, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And that's all the time we have for Talk of the Town. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.